Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burns in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. I'm Adam, and across the table from me digitally is my good friend and co-host, Michael.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy to be here again, Adam.
Well, see, I haven't replaced you with a AI yet, so that's good.
Another episode that I've not been replaced with AI.
That's right. That's
awesome.
Right. Doing okay?
Yeah, not doing too bad. You know, we're starting to get a little winter weather here in Kansas. Got a little snow a few days back, not a lot, but a little. So it's starting to say, hey, winter's coming. How about you?
Yeah, we got a little snow, and then in the last few days it's been really warm and a lot of rain. So we went from cold to now we're just going to soak everything and drench everything. But nevertheless, you know, it's that time of the season. Unfortunately, it gets dark so fast, and
that's still messing me up.
Yeah,
it just seems like by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, it seems like it should be midnight.
Yeah,
I'm still fighting that.
Today, I thought we'd do something. You and I started the Cycling Women of Leisure, and I thought today we could continue the series, and we could talk about all things ladies.
I think that would be a great idea. Let me preface this. Let me set the stage, if you will.
I'm listening.
Did you know, here in our great country, the great country that has museums for everything, one of the reasons why I love it, that there are over 51 million Americans who participate in cycling?
51 million.
51 million Americans that participate in cycling.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea it was such a large number.
Now, why that's relevant to today's conversation is that 28.4% of cyclists are women. Less than 30% of them are women.
Yeah, I think that's probably I'm just basing it off of the events that I've been to. I would say that's pretty fair. I mean, it's always dominated by men. If you go to like you and I do, you know, state long rides and stuff, there seems to be more men than women. So,
yes. And when you brought up this topic, I did some research because I was thinking, you know, why is that not more equal? I know it'll never be 50%, 50%, but I mean, that's a pretty drastic gap. And so I'm like, well, why aren't women getting out there cycling? And as I did my research, I realized that ever since cycling existed, the odds have been stacked against women. It really has.
Do you have some examples?
I do have some examples. I just originally thought myself, you know, being an older white guy, it's like, oh, well, they just don't get out or they're not interested in cycling or anything like that. But after I did the research, I found out that way back, if we go back to, say, the invention of the safety bike, which is basically the bicycle that is kind of the modern days bicycle's predecessor. It's kind of what started us down from the, you know, the penny and farth and got us away from that to like a real type bicycle that we'd recognize today, which is about 1876. A gentleman by the name of Lawson created that. Ever since that time, women, especially in that time, because it was Victorian age, it was very hard for women to go out and start cycling. I mean, men could go out, hop on a bike and ride wherever they wanted to. But there were several things that stood in the woman's way as far as barrier to entry back in the old days when it came to cycling. And the first one blows my mind that I didn't think of this. And that is, you let the young ladies get on a bicycle. Well, guess what they can do? Any ideas?
Go vote.
Well, you're onto something, honestly. Back then, society was under the idea that if women got on bicycles and started cycling more, they would have more mobility, hence more freedom. And society, typically the men, did not like that. So it was very frowned upon for women to get on bicycles and be cycling around back in, the late 1800s. So that was one, which makes a lot of sense when you think about the social norms. Number two is, look at what women had to wear back in those days. I lived in Newport, Rhode Island for a while, and I can remember going into some of the restaurants and the establishments there along the beach areas, and they would have the old pictures from like 1920s, and they would show, people out there swimming, and the men were in like those, one-piece singlet things, short sleeve shorts, and women were out there and pretty much just, dresses down to their ankle type things and these little, swimming bonnet things.
Resistance training.
Yeah, that's a lot of drag, let me tell you. So when you think about that, women couldn't just go, well, I'm going cycling, I'm going to throw in a pair of jeans or pants or shorts. I mean, so they had to wear like the long skirts when they went cycling, which made cycling very cumbersome.
Right.
So, who wants to go ride around in a full-length dress and that type of thing? And this is the funny one. In the 1890s, doctors believed and promoted that if women rode bikes, they would become infertile. Which, think about it, back in the Victorian age and stuff. I mean, really, society kind of dictated. That was kind of the success for a lot of women was, you know what? I'm going to get married at a young age and I'm going to have children. And having the children and getting married were like two of the big highlights of society back then. And so if there's doctors out there promoting that, well, I'm not going to get on a bike. So from the very start, society and whatnot kind of had it in for women going against the whole cycling thing.
So men wanted them to get back in the kitchen, and the doctors promoted that, probably while smoking at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's healthy for the lungs,
That's right. Like those old commercials where the doctors were promoting Philip Morris and cigarettes and stuff.
Oh, yes, things we found out later.
Yes.
And then when I started doing even more research from that period, you even look up through the middle of last century, you really see that bicycles were not making bicycles that were geared towards women. Cycling gear was not being made that was geared towards women. So we've really kind of had this long progression to kind of get us to some point where women kind of had an even foothold. And, as I'm sitting here talking about this, I feel a little guilty, I mean, there was so much kind of, males saying, no, don't do this type thing. So kind of feel guilty about that. Not that I was there doing it, but still.
Well, you should, you despicable man.
What is interesting to find out is that we finally get up to like 1982.
Okay.
And have you ever heard of Terry Bicycles?
I haven't, no.
Okay. Well, Terry Bicycles was founded by a woman, which was exceptionally unusual back, for a woman to found a bicycle company. Georgina Terry founded it, and actually in 82 started making the first really modern framed bicycles for women.
Okay. So,
and then specialty followed, or specialized followed, right there soon after.
And then I think LIV is a special. I mean, they're designed for women cycling as well.
They
So
are indeed. Yeah. The final thing. So now we're starting to get some bicycles, because before they just had to, find frames, very, small men's frames. If they were a smaller gal, they'd have to find smaller men's frames. And you look at the difference in height is roughly, 4 or 5 inches. So you're like looking, you're small. You got to be looking for, small guy's bike. And, nowadays, fortunately, since 82, they've started, making bikes more designed to the female body versus the male body. The final thing, clothing. If you were back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you wanted to go cycling, you were basically going to put on a pair of regular shorts and a t-shirt or something to go cycling in, because unlike the men, they didn't really have, like the kits and things like you have, like the men had.
okay.
So, back then, when the 80s started to roll around, they started saying, hey, women are more into cycling, that type of thing. So they decided, well, you know what? Their attitude became now that they had women's specific bicycles, well, let's give some women's specific gear. We're not going to go and really do anything special. What we're just going to do is we're going to basically take men's gear and just shrink it down a little, which, if you think about it, that's going to create some obvious issues.
Yeah. I mean, so the idea within, I mean, just making sure I'm clear. So taking either the sprocket set, front gear, and make it a little smaller. So
well, no, I'm talking specifically the clothing.
Oh, gotcha.
Specifically the clothing. So they just take like men's, cycling jerseys. We're just going to shrink it down a little bit. And they actually had a great phrase for it. It was called shrink it and pink it. That was their attitude. We're going to shrink it down and we're going to make it pink and throw some flowers on it to make it appealing to women. It might not fit them very well, but at least it's going to be
but they're going to look
florally. Good. Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe depending on how it fit, I guess. So that was interesting. They really just they weren't considering, sizes and mass, and they weren't looking at the type of cyclist or the body type. They were just, here's what we got. So again, it's been a slow evolution. Finally, we get to the new century, 2000, and that's really where Trek jumped on board and said, hey, they started making true women's apparel, cut, designed specifically for women. And they also, getting back to the point that you had just a few minutes ago, started making, like a 26-inch road bike wheel, shorter cranks, things like that was going to be more fitting towards females.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, when Lauren got her first bike, I took her to the bike store and I remember we bought the bike and we came home, and here I had a closet full of cycling kits and jerseys that I had, secured at other places, for different rides or events that I had. And I said, oh, I'll just throw this jersey on you. I know that for a fact it did not fit her. She looked, matter of fact, she came out. I said, yeah, let's just throw on a sweatshirt. That doesn't look good. So, but that was another thing where when they fit her for the bike and definitely different for a woman than a man. And that was interesting to see. So, cause I was used to, where's your hips? What size bike do you need? And so for her to watch them size her up and everything, it was definitely different. Very, very interesting. So,
yeah, it was interesting retrospective, and really gave me, a moment to pause, because I didn't really realize that, we really have not made, our society has not made cycling easy on women. So that really explains that, 37% of them cycling and not more, because ever since the invention of the bicycle, kind of the pressure has been pushed on them not to, in fact, do that. So it was definitely interesting going down through this and kind of taking a perspective and seeing it. So
gotcha.
Hopefully that kind of sets the stage for why there's not as many women out there riding as we would like to see.
Yeah, we definitely, we had the ladies join us. Even our team was definitely dominant men versus ladies in Georgia last year, and so hopefully this year we can get a few more ladies than we had last year. So. On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
And the final thing I'm going to leave you with on this topic, Adam, do you know do you know where cycling ranks as far as popularity in outdoor activities in the United States? Is it number 1? Is it number 6? Is it number 20? I'd say it's in the top 10, but
4.
Take a wild guess. 4?
It's just a guess.
You're very close.
Oh, man.
Cycling in the United States is the 3rd most popular outdoor activity.
Okay.
Yeah. Any ideas what 1 and 2 may be?
Pickleball is probably gone like bonsai.
Yeah, that hasn't got on the list yet.
Okay. Let's see here. 1 and 2 then. Hiking?
No.
Running?
Running is number 1. You'll never guess number 2.
Okay. I won't even guess it.
Running is number 1. Number 2 is fishing.
Really?
Number 3 is cycling. So.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, there's a lot of fishing. There's nut jobs that go out on the ice, too.
Yeah,
so
and sit out there in the wintertime. That's just insane.
The only ice fishing I would do is like in Grumpy Old Men when they're in those shanties.
They're in little huts.
Yeah.
The shanties, yeah.
With TVs and beer and heaters, and they made it look pretty glamorous. But every time I look out there, the wind is whipping, the guys are out there. It doesn't look like that.
Well, maybe you need to get a shanty. It's just your little way of getting away. Yeah, I'm going fishing. And you don't even put anything in the water. You just sit in your shanty and, do whatever they do in shanties in Michigan.
Back when I lived in Illinois, the property we had, there were 5 ponds. I used to fish every day, and every now and then I do think about going back to fishing. But as far as number 1 and then running, the only reason to run is if someone steals my bike. So
that's a good point. Yes, someone steals a bike or you're being chased by a bear. That's all I can think of.
And as long as I'm not the slowest.
Well, I figure if a bear is going to chase me, either you or my kids are going to be along with me. So, I think I can take you.
Screwed.
Actually,
I'm screwed.
Once I think about the kids, actually, I'm the slow guy. So, yeah. As long as I'm with you, I'm okay. If I'm with the family, yeah, I'm going to
Well, that doesn't make me feel very good. So,
we won't come across any bears. Anyway, getting back to it, that kind of gives you a little history.
Okay.
And I think you did some research on some of the female cyclists who have stood out and, kind of pioneered the sport. So why don't you tell us a little about that?
I will. So women have made some significant achievements in cycling, overcoming the historic barriers, as you mentioned, advocating for equality in the sport, and I've got a few notable accomplishments. So when it comes to racing, women have excelled in road racing, track cycling, mountain biking, and BMX racing. A woman by the name of Marianne Vos, and Anna van der Breggen, and an American, Kristen Armstrong, have all won multiple world championships and Olympic medals.
Kristen, 1984.
Really?
Yes. She won 1984. Yeah. That was actually the first Olympics that women participated in cycling events at. And They did road racing and BMX, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And I believe that is where she won the gold.
This is something I know that you know, but I am just kind of educating myself. But did you know that Tour de France has Tour de Femmes?
I do. It just recently started the last few years. And what I think is really cool, me, I'm a big fan of the Tour de France. July is my month for sports. I watch it faithfully. It's been interesting because the last 2 years they've really been promoting it because it happens immediately following the men's tour, and it's like 2 weeks long. And they will mix in, a lot of times they'll cut off from the race and they'll show you like, racers profiles and where they're from and things like that. They've started mixing in a lot of the women's profiles. So it kind of introduces them to the people watching the Tour de France. So that's awesome.
So women have also been pushing for equal pay and representation. Advocates have campaigned for equal prize money and opportunities for women in cycling. There's an organization called the International L's, and they have been instrumental for pushing for equality in cycling. So that was interesting to read about. So
cool.
There have been many women who have broke records. They've broken numerous records in cycling. For instance, Denise Mueller-Kornick set the paced bicycle land speed record in 2018. Any guesses of how fast this land speed record of this woman was?
Land speed record on a bicycle?
On a bicycle.
Well, I know what my fastest has been, and that's a shade over 50, and that's downhill. So I'm going to say that, and I'm by no means an expert here, so I'm going to say 75 miles an hour.
You would be really far off. 183 miles an hour. And to be exact, the record is 183.932 miles an hour, or what is 296 kilometers an hour on a specifically designed bicycle.
On a bicycle, not a motorcycle, a bicycle.
Bicycle.
100. I get to going 50 some miles an hour down the hill. I'm just praying to God I don't hit a rock. I cannot even imagine going over 100 miles, let alone 180 miles an hour. I don't care how designed the bicycle is. Man, that's just scary stuff right there. I mean, kudos to her. Congratulations. But wow.
I did 54 miles an hour last year in Georgia. My wife looks on Strava because she's paying attention from home. And she
things you don't want her paying attention to.
Exactly. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hey, I had a helmet on." So,
wow.
And then I picture this is like over 3 times of how fast I was going. And, but anyway, so
that's incredible.
So women have been pushing for advocacy and leadership. They've taken leadership roles, advocating for greater representation and cycling governance. Personalities like Catherine Bertine and Marianne Voss have been very vocal advocates for the gender equality in the sport. So that was news to me, to be honest. So
very interesting.
They are inspired. A lot of women are taking what they've learned and instead of just saying, okay, well, we're going to fight for our equality and diversity and cycling, they're actually trying to be inspiring to the next generation of young ladies and women, and serve as inspiration, and pushing for more initiatives and programs to encourage more girls to take up cycling in the sport, which you and I have seen. The Dream Team, and not only Georgia, but Iowa, Bragg and Ragbri, had a lot of ladies for their Dream Team. That was really cool to see. I remember one of the coaches distinctly saying, ladies, over here on the right side. Remember what I told you? So, definitely being a good coach. So there's a lot of innovation and technology. You kind of mentioned this. I don't want to steal your thunder, but they've been involved in advanced cycling technology, such as changing the frame. The female engineers and designers and scientists have contributed to not only bike gear, clothing, but things like even ladies' shoes. Before, like you mentioned, there was, men's subset of men's gear, excuse me. But they've been looking at the, ladies' feet being maybe different size or maybe the width or whatever. And so a lot of scientists are getting involved in helping advance the sport and technology.
No more shrink it and pink it, huh?
No. No. And, but a lot of community engagement, which brought me back after. I'm gonna tell you what I learned first, but women cyclists have also built supportive communities and networks, a lot of training, mentorship in the community to push, by going either to their work and saying, hey, we're going to go cycling on Saturday morning. Why don't you join us? And we'll, bring you along. But that reminded me of when you and I went to the Broke Spoke and how they had,
oh yeah, that's awesome.
was it Wednesday nights was for ladies?
Wednesday nights was Fem Night.
Okay. Yes. Yep. And
so they can go work on their bicycles without, guys around, or, no, there's no guys showing off trying to pick up anybody, anything like that. They can just focus on the bicycle.
And women have recently, and probably more now recently, but from my readings, women have undertaken impressive endurance challenges such as ultra distance races, long distance cycling tours, record breaking rides, and showcasing their strength and determination in the sport. And you and I have seen that on these state long rides. We've seen some of the same people, some of the same ladies who are, we've seen them in Iowa, and then we've seen them in Kentucky and Georgia and all kinds of places. And so we are seeing more women when we're out there. So.
Yeah, and a perfect example of that is our guest that we had on two episodes ago, Sarah.
Yep.
I mean, she's out there, she's killing it. I mean, she rode across the United States, for God's sakes. I mean, that's awesome.
Hey, Adam, I need a Coke.
Sounds good. We'll be back after a quick break. And then there are initiatives like La Course, which is by Tour de France, and UCI Women's World Tour have contributed to increased visibility and recognize women's cycling, helping bridge the gap between men and women's racing. And so, and that's pretty much the research that I kind of looked into, trying to see where we are now with women's cycling. Some of the tri bikes that you see built for women are just absolutely amazing, and you'd really never know that they were a ladies' bike or not. I mean, you never know. I mean, I see all kinds of different cyclists on different color bikes, and now they're making, like Trek. I know they have the Project One. You could paint it however you want to paint it, flames and unicorns and whatever. So so a lot of equality across the board when it comes to that. So just wanted to, just kind of get that out there and kind of bring attention to women's cycling and continue the Cycling Women of Leisure series.
No, I think this is a great topic. When you brought it up, I was like, well, that might go good. And then once I started doing the research, I was like, wow. So I think the bottom line is, ladies, get out and do some cycling. I mean, things are becoming a lot less restrictive as far as getting into the sport. And certainly society is far more accepting of it than it was 100 years ago. So that's awesome.
So you're going to get the ladies in your house cycling?
That would be nice. They just, yeah. I love cycling so much, and they're kind of like, it's cycling, and I get it. They're not going to have the enthusiasm that maybe I have for it, but maybe one of these days.
So I always tease our good friend Joe. His daughters are extremely talented in dance and have won many awards and lots of scholarships and done some phenomenal things with their dancing. And I always tease them. I'm like, when are you going to get those ladies on bikes? And he says, well, I can get them out for like a, one ride here or one ride there. And I said, no, put your foot down, stop buying all the dance dad, outfits and all the things you're telling me that are expensive, and go out and buy them a bike, And I think he said that goes over like a lead balloon. So.
The problem, though, one of the problems is Joe likes to ride fast.
Yeah.
And I could see if you're somebody, I mean, I've ridden with Joe. He blows out and just goes. But I mean, if you're like somebody, it's like, hey, let's go out and ride. And then you're like blowing down the road at 20 miles an hour. Yeah, I could see where that might not be so fun. So slow down, Joe. invite them out and slow down.
When
I think
Joe
that'll
and
go
I
a
were
long way.
training for our first Ragbri, I don't know if I ever told you this. We'd go to a place over here called Island Lake in Kensington Metro Park. They connect. We're lucky here. We have a trail system that is so vast that you never have to go through traffic, or if you do, it's so minimal. We're just on a trail crossing. And so we're pretty lucky to train. There's lots of elevations, and Joe would say, "Hey, you want to go out and train?" I'd say, "Oh yeah. You know, I want to be ready for Iowa." And we get to the parking lot and we stage our bikes and get everything ready to go. And for about the first lap or so, I could keep up with them. And after a while, I started getting really exhausted. And then what he would do is he'd get at the top, and this is no secret, by the way. He knows I would tell this story, but he would get to the top of the hill and he'd wait for me, which is polite. Except when I would get to the top of the hill, he's like, "Okay, let's go." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute.
Hey, you got your rest.
Yeah, where's my rest? I need a break." And so after a while, I would just tell him, just go on. I'll catch you later.
Let me die along the side of the trail.
That's right.
Peace.
Just get the defibrillator out of the truck and we'll be fine. So, but yeah, he's definitely a strong rider, and you're right about that. My goal is to get Lauren back on the bike this year.
Yep.
You know that she was doing midnights for a long time, and then now she changed jobs to an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and so that's my goal. Is I don't expect her to do the crazy shenanigans like you and I do, but
No.
She used to really enjoy it. I mean, she's done 70-mile rides. I mean, when her mom passed away, she honored her mom and did a 70-mile ride that day in honor of her mother, and so I think she misses it and she's got a nice track on the wall that I can blow the dust off. So maybe that'll be one of the Cycling Women of Leisure series shows.
There you go. So what else do we got for this episode? Anything?
All right. Yeah. So I thought if you would just just
Okay.
let me
Wait. Well, I'm throwing the flag. And I know you guys can't see me, but on my desk, I have a yellow referee flag. I'm throwing it right now. Boom. There it is. Because you know what? This is reminding me that is exactly the same way you started this whole thing. You were like, I tell you what, just bear with me for a minute. I got this crazy idea, and don't make any judgment. Have you ever thought about doing a podcast? So now you're getting me a little worried, because that is exactly the same way you started us down this road.
I thought I have a few things that are on my chest that we could start a new segment. A segment that could be reappearing. Not every episode, maybe not every 3 episodes.
Are we talking about your shirts or what?
No. Everybody
Said
knows
it's on your chest. I mean, I thought, okay.
Everybody knows I have crazy golf shirts, but no.
Okay.
I'm thinking I have a few things like a rant. I want like rants of dissatisfaction.
Rants of what? Dissatisfaction?
Yeah, I thought we could call it rants of dissatisfaction.
I like it. That's cool.
Okay.
Is this like airing of the laundry or?
Yeah. Yep. This is clearly not going to be a cycling topic, but could relate to cycling if you're willing to take a stretch.
Okay.
All right.
Let us then begin the first rants of dissatisfaction.
Perfect.
We need some theme music next time, though.
No, I'll bust up some theme music. I will work on that. Who knows? Maybe I'll just edit this and be like, "You mean this right here?" Rants of dissatisfaction. When people make you mad.
This ought to be good. Stay tuned, folks. Hold on for the ride.
As you know, I live in the great state of Michigan. I'm actually proud to live in Michigan. And it is not a surprise every year that it snows. Sometime in 2024, it's already happened in 23 a couple times, but sometime in 2024, it's going to snow. And when it does, it's amazing to me that everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever seen snow and I don't know how to drive." I'm not sure about you, but over here, It snows and everybody just loses their brain. It's just amazing to me. And I thought that kind of led me down the path. I'm not sure. What about you in Kansas? When you first time it snows, is people slip off the road or drive too fast for conditions?
Yes, absolutely. Now, we don't get as much snow as you do, obviously, but yeah, that first snow like we had a few days ago, you're right. Everybody kind of freaks out. They've got to, I think, acclimate to the concept of, oh, we live in a state that it snows. We were hoping that wasn't going to happen this year. Surprise, it did. But yes, I do agree with you. People have a tendency to go crazy. I will say I spent 13 years in Denver, Colorado, and I guess my rant at this point in time, I'm going to interrupt your rant. I'm going to throw a rant out there.
I'm in.
Every other weekend or every weekend, I love to ski. And when I was there, I was generally a season ticket holder of one of the resorts. And so I would go up into the mountains a lot. And it was funny, you would always see, a lot of times the conditions were bad and you would see cars off to the side. What was amazing to me is 99.9% of the time, the cars in the ditch were cars with four-wheel drive, because for some reason, those people who own four-wheel drives thinks that a four-wheel drive cannot get stuck and it can go through anything. And they can drive as fast as they want because somehow it magically gives them super traction. Yeah, exactly. I've got super traction. I got four-wheel drive. And you'd see all these little Toyotas and all this other stuff going up there, not having any trouble. And then you'd see these big, four-wheel drive trucks and stuff off in the ditch or whatever. That always, it's like, come on, just because you have four-wheel drive does not magically make you invincible to snow conditions.
So I drive a little Honda. It's front-wheel drive. I would challenge that it can almost go anywhere. And I am the same way. When people pass me like on a big expedition, and then later I see them in a ditch, there's a sense of satisfaction there. I wave as I go by. Bye-bye. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. So I have a few here.
So, excuse me, the rants of dissatisfaction.
That's right.
Is just going to be an area or an opportunity for us to air our grievances.
Absolutely.
At anything.
Absolutely. So this got me thinking, I will keep them, this current session of Rants of Dissatisfaction, I will keep them road worthy. Because it could involve cycling as well. So I'm trying to do a stretch there. But here's another one. Okay. You're on the freeway.
Yep.
Whether it's a 2-lane highway or a 3-lane highway, or who knows, maybe you're in LA and it's an 8-lane highway. You're in the right lane.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going the speed limit. Can't get over to your left. The guy comes down the ramp. Who has the right of way? Hey, Michael, I need a coffee.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message.
Well, legally, the flow of the traffic has the right of way. You're coming into the flow of the traffic. You should be yielding if yield is necessary.
Oh, I agree. But the guy coming down the ramp is yelling at you because you're not.
Because you're not yielding.
That's right.
Let me slow down and stop traffic on the interstate at 70, 80 miles an hour so that you can get into the traffic.
That's right.
I totally get that. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
That just drives me nuts because I take a 3-lane freeway all the way to work every day. And when I get on to my little city after getting my Starbucks, which is extremely important, and as I come up the ramp, I know that they have the right of way and I wait my turn. But it's amazing on the next ramp where I'm minding my own business. I got the cruise control on, normally got AirPods in, listen to a podcast. Sometimes I'm even listening to our podcast to make sure how it sounds. So, and then someone comes on the ramp and they give you the double arms up in the air, like, what are you doing? Like,
I can do one better.
Okay.
Same situation. I'm up there. I'm coming down the on-ramp. I see there's a lot of cars. They can't get over. So I am slowing down to yield. The guy behind me hits his horn, steps on the gas, zips around me, and just like slides in right between two cars.
Yeah,
that annoys me. It's like, dude, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and you just about created an accident by you like trying to slipstream between two cars there. That bothers me.
Another guy who got stuck in a ditch, I would smile as I drove by. All right, I got another one. You either are on a highway or your local byway or whatever, and you're giving the ample space that you're supposed to. 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths, depending on the daylight, depending on the weather. You're giving that equal space. And then this guy comes around you to only turn, after passing you, to immediately make a right turn right away. Like, really, dude? You had to come... So let me explain that.
Okay.
Let's say you're going 55, okay. and there's a turn off to the right, and this guy zips around you just to be able to turn right.
To slow down and turn to the right.
Right.
Like zip in front of you and then turn to the right.
Exactly. A little frustrating.
You've done that to me before, by the way.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Exactly. Where's that flag at? I'm throwing it again.
Where is it? Is it red? No, yours is yellow.
Mine's yellow.
We need
penalty
the challenge flag to be red. So I don't deny it though. The difference is but those commercials are the best commercials. I love it. It says, "I didn't leave the sunroom up." Oh yeah, challenge flag.
Challenge flag. Let's go to the replay.
Well, in that case, I definitely did turn before you. So we were trying to find the place to park, and I turned before him, and you did circles. But I came back in my defense. So, okay. This is another one that bothers me. You're driving, and there's a big sign that says, "Left lane ends in 1 mile." I'm the kind of guy that, oh gosh, I'm the kind of guy that's like, all right, I better get over. I better find me a spot. And I try to get over. It just, weep, when a guy comes all the way at the end at the last second and then expects like to come on over. The best thing about driving a 13-year-old car is I'm not letting you over.
That's right. Yeah, totally. You know, I can agree with that one too.
And the last one I had was the emergency lane. The emergency lane and someone thinking that, oh, there's traffic here. I'm just going to whip on over to the emergency lane and I'm just going to race off the freeway because I have the right to. And,
now, just a second. When you say emergency lane, are you talking the shoulder?
Yeah, shoulder. In Michigan, we have emergency lane and the shoulder are the same thing.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have been more clear.
No, that's okay. So they basically, traffic is going slow or stopped, and they hop over into the shoulder.
Yep.
And drive down the shoulder.
Yeah. Special place in hell for those people.
Yeah. Yes.
In my opinion. So.
Interesting.
And that's it. I thought we could have a segment of things that have been just kind of building up. A few things happen here or there, and I thought, I wonder if we could tie this into the show. And I guarantee you that you and I are not the only people who ever talk about people merging or like you said, the 4-wheel drives. It's funny because every time it snows here, people on the freeway like blow by me. My dad always says 4-wheel drive so you can get stuck in deeper snow.
That's exactly it. Oh, well, while we're on ranting,
okay,
I've got one that is cycling related.
Cool.
And I bet every single one of our listeners has been there. Drives me crazy.
All right.
Actually, 2 of them. The person who is passing you as you're cycling, they're in a car, and right as they get up next to you, they just gun the gas and go really fast. Like they're proving to you that their car is faster than your bike, which I'm like, well, I hope your car is faster than me on a bike.
Yeah.
So the second one is said person doing that, but instead of stepping on the gas and zipping around, they work on getting their mirror in their car as close to you as humanly possible to try to prove that they own the road. Oh, that just pisses me off beyond belief. It's like, okay, there's plenty of room. Wasn't another car coming. You could have easily went over, and instead of going over a little to your left, you decide to try to crowd me as much as you could to the right without,
I believe that happened to us many times on the ride that we don't speak about.
Yes, on the ride that we do not speak about because we're nice guys, and we've often said if there's rides that we go on that we absolutely thought was unsafe or anything like that, that we will not badmouth the ride. We just won't mention or talk about the ride. Certainly, catch us in person sometime. We'll, be happy to talk about it. But yes,
and we did talk about it.
We
recently
did
with a boy, and had a commonality with somebody who
because
who had the same feeling
that we were talking about said the same thing about the ride. So, you're absolutely right. I mean, there was several times there that, and it wasn't just vehicles; it was semis. And in their defense, though, a lot of that was just a busy, single lane of traffic.
Yeah.
And there was really not a lot of room for those big trucks to go anywhere when they were passing you. And honestly, we had a non-existent shoulder or a, 8-inch shoulder to try to work off of. So
that was where the radar became instrumental that day on the ride that we don't speak about. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's it. Now you've kind of challenged me. I am going to have a sound effect. This one right here. Rants of Dissatisfaction. When people make you mad. And I'll close Rants of Dissatisfaction.
Okay, excellent. I love it. As rants come up, we can air our grievances, so to speak.
Being truthful, stole the idea listening to a radio station, and this guy was talking about, hey, how do you feel about this? I'm sure they were trying to have a topic to have people call into the radio station. But while I know that this is not a live podcast, I thought it'd still be fun just to say these are kind of some things that, driving to work every day, something. I know that your commute is 13 steps, but
yeah, don't make me rant about that, because let me tell you. When the cat and the dog are trying to go up those 13 steps and I'm trying to go down, it gets messy. So
you trip and the laptop flips.
My milk and my breakfast go flying. It's horrible.
I just heard your daughter yell at you about hidden dishes, so that was great.
Well, I haven't had a lot of time from my work day to this. And, I was eating lunch and I set them there and I will take them up. And she tends to be the, she understands that if she did it, I would be on her case. So it's fair.
And truth be told, we're trying to work on something really cool. We've got, can't say a lot right now, but we've got something really cool coming out January 1st.
We're okay. I was going to say, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Don't say what it is, but yes.
No. I am super excited.
Me too.
If we make this happen, this will be super cool. It'll be, just keep tuning in, because if we make this work, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great show, great topic. It'll be awesome.
January 1st. That's
January
all I can
1st. Say. And that's going to be a special episode.
Yep.
And big, exciting, cool things.
So we got some great stuff coming up. So,
speaking of great stuff, we've got, I think, a couple of episodes before our final episode. Is that correct?
That's correct.
For the year end?
Yeah, this is going to come out. I hate to date it, but I'll date it. This should come out on the 10th of December. So if you're listening to this today and this is the day that it came out, you can be like, hey, no, it's not. Today's the 11th. Technically, it came out on the 10th.
So the next episode I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be on the 24th, Christmas
24th,
Eve.
Christmas Eve. We're going to have a really fun, we're going to basically be doing kind of a best of 2023. And I've got some interesting questions to pose to you that I'm going to have you answer. And I'm going to give you some questions of which you can pose to me. And we're going to kind of evaluate some of the best things that we've did during the year.
I'm looking forward to that.
It should be fun.
I think what happens for me is even listening to it, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, we did do that. I mean, we pack so much into the year, and then you have a family and you do vacations with your family, and then we do our cycling and trips, and of course the golf trip and everything. And so sometimes when we do this, I'm always like, oh yeah, we did do that. You're right. Oh yeah, we did go there. So I'm really looking forward to that. So
I'm putting it in a fun format. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. I think the listeners will enjoy it.
well, and by the way, on that show, when it comes out on Christmas Eve, I mean, you get tired of your family. Put on your AirPods, put on your noise cancellation headphones, and just go listen to the guys. I mean, it'll be something you want to do. So
Awesome. Good stuff coming up.
I'm going to do a little plug here. So behind me, I know this is a podcast and you can't see it, but I'm going to describe it. Behind me is an Instagram counter and a Facebook counter. And we just want to thank those who have followed us and helping the numbers flip. If you've ever been to a restaurant or some sort of store and you see on the wall, looks like a number and you say, hey, what's that? And if you like the Facebook or you follow on Instagram, this thing will actually flip right away. And so, we've definitely gained some Instagram and some Facebook followers. We're looking for anybody else that can help us so we can push the show more and share what we got going on. So really would love that support.
The final thing I'll say also, as everybody probably knows at this point in time, we are going back to Georgia. Big brag.
Going to Georgia.
We are looking for team members for cycling men and cycling women of leisure. And so anybody out there who wants to go to Big Brag and hang out can certainly sign up. Our team is in the registration where you select your team. Our team name is on there. I did want to mention that there is a discount for registration if you get it done before December 31st.
That is
I think
true.
you save like $75. So
it is
something to keep in mind. If you're going to be registering for Big Brag, you might as well save yourself the $75.
And you might as well just join our team because if we have more than 10, you'll get a jersey. And why wouldn't you want to hang out with the cycling men and women of leisure? I mean, that's kind of why you're there.
Those are the questions you probably shouldn't ask. Why wouldn't you want to hang out with us? Well, yeah.
Well, listen, I think.
How about this? You can come and hang out with us. Let's not put it in the form of a question. You can come out and hang out with us and cycle and have a good time. How about that?
We've been known to pass out bourbon. We've been known to enjoy lots of good things. So come and join us is what I would say.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it.
Cool.
So I appreciate you doing your part of the show and research, and good to see you again as always. So,
and I appreciate not being replaced with AI. So thank you.
Nope. I told you that the CEO of ChatGPT had to step down, and I'm not sure if they've figured somebody out. But even if they do replace the CEO or whatever happens, I still want you, brother. So
hey, I appreciate that, man. Wouldn't want to do it without you.
Nope. So I know one thing. I wish it was a great day for a bike ride. Unfortunately, today here it's not. But I'm visualizing and planning for a great day for a bike ride.
Well, every day is a great day for a bike ride somewhere.
Somewhere is true.
Not Michigan, but somewhere.
And trust me when I tell you, Facebook and Google and all those places keep showing me blue waters and beaches. I think they want me to get out my credit card and go somewhere. So that would be a great day to ride a bike for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, have a good one.
You too.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. you can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.